thank you for that wonderful introduction. This is amazing. I'm Brian Cristiano, the founder and CEO of Bold Worldwide. Oh, it's incredible. This is great. Yeah. Yes! Yes! Can we just do that all day? Wow. Oh, wow, that's awesome. Well, I am here to talk about thinking bold. First thing, I want to make a commitment to all of you because I appreciate every single one of you who took the time out of your day, out of these couple of days, traveled here, spent the time, the energy, and the money to be in this room. I appreciate all of you, so I'm going to make a commitment. I'm going to deliver you a perspective and strategy that you can use right away in this room and when you leave, because I want to make this as actionable as possible for you while I also tell you some of my story. Is that cool? I want a commitment from all of you, though. I want you to commit to know what is fully possible for you. And I want you to play full in to get the most out of this. That's awesome. I don't even have to ask if you're gonna play all in. Woo! Wow, yes! Yes! Woo! Prove it! Oh, this is awesome. I can't even tell you. I'm gonna tell you some of my story. I'm skipping ahead for a second because it took me so long to realize in my life that I needed to be in rooms like this. I'm just for some perspective, so for those of you that don't know who I am, give you just a quick little insight into what Bold Worldwide is, what I do, what we do, and then I'm going to reverse engineer the whole thing for you. So what we believe at Bold is we exist to redefine the advertising industry. It's a legacy industry. Everyone here understands the power of marketing and social media, so it doesn't necessarily mean you need to be a brand. All of us are brands, right? And we believe in redefining that, breaking the status quo, and delivering really impactful business results. So whether we're working with big corporations or for yourselves and individuals, really making sure that what you're doing actually delivers a result and has an impact, and it's not just a tactic or a trick. Because there's plenty of tactics and tricks, right? And so what we do is we accelerate the growth of businesses that are looking to get to that next level. Right? And so we work with big, huge corporations all the way down to some startups, and we do that by connecting real story marketing strategy to business and sales objectives, right? And so some of our clients are Tropicana, DirecTV, Jennifer Lopez, and right? Pretty cool. We do some pretty cool stuff. It's awesome. We're featured in, obviously, Social Media Week and Forbes and the Wall Street Journal and everything. And so that is Bold. That is my company. So let me tell you a little bit about me, right? So see me now on the stage, right? My friend Ed Milet. Amazing guy. And Grant Cardone. These are some of the people that are in my circle, my friends, people I do business with. We have a content series called Growing Bold. That's some of the screenshot with Ed there. And just because they just got married, of course I got to throw in a gratuitous shot of me, Jennifer Lopez, Alex Rodriguez, right? and maybe a little bit, but I'm not totally showing that to brag. It is cool. All right, I am just doing that to brag, but But I'm showing you for a reason, right? Because a lot of us, myself included, looks at the end result or the current result, right? Because this isn't an end, right? I'm still very much in the middle of my journey or early days of my journey. Like I got places to go. I want to see what I'm made of. I want to continuously get to the next level. But I think oftentimes we look at people that are some levels ahead of us and we already are looking at their end result and forget that there's a long journey usually to get there. So I want to talk about that journey because let me ask you a question. Have you all heard some phrase, something along the lines of, well, you can't do that? Right? We all have. We've all been told at some point, well, you can't do that. You know, when I was 16 years old, I wanted to be a pro skater. Rollerblading when it was cool in the mid-90s for like 5 minutes. My mom is really happy that didn't end up being the route, I'll tell you that much. I guess I am too. But I wanted to be a pro skater. I was really good. I competed, but I was not quite at the level of which I would, be total pro. But I was friends with a lot of these athletes that were in the X Games and the Gravity Games and all this stuff. I was surrounded by legitimate that level pros. And so one day I was thinking, I'm like, all right, I'm 16 years old at the time, or 15 actually when I started thinking about this. And I was like, wow, what am I going to do? What can I do? And I lived on the East Coast. I was from New York. And all of, yeah. New Yorkers in the house, I love that. Yeah. And so for me, back then, predating like YouTube and the internet and all that crap, right? Like today, I'm so jealous. I go, man, if I was like 16 today and I'm like, hey, I want to learn how to do some crazy flip, you just like go on YouTube, you're like, how do you do this? And there's 45 videos explaining exactly how. We looked at pictures and magazines and VHS tapes and we're like, sure, I'll just throw myself down that flight of stairs and hope it works. And so I would watch all these videos religiously, but they were all out of California, though. I'm from the West Coast, and I'm like, man, I have all these people that I know. Why don't I make a skate video? And everyone told me, you can't do that. You've never filmed anything before. You don't even own a camera. Do you know what editing is? And no, I don't. And how the hell are you going to create and sell a video? It's not like today where you put up like an e-commerce store on a website. It was like, who do you know? You can't do that. And so I think it was just me being a thick-headed 15, 16-year-old teenager where I was like, oh, F you, you say I can't do that, I'm going to do that. And sometimes I wish I could remember that, or sometimes I do. I think back to the time and I go, you need to be that 16-year-old more often sometimes because back then, I didn't care. I didn't think about it. I said, oh, I'm just going to do it. I don't know how. I'm just going to do it. And so that's what I did. I spent, I worked as a busboy to buy a camera, and then I was filming all of my friends and all these people that I knew. And when I was 16 years old, I was like, okay, I've got all this footage. I've started to figure out how to edit, and I'm like, well, I don't know how you sell a skate video. I just looked on the back of one, and it said Video Action Sports Distributor. I cold called their 800 number, and I said, hey, I've got your next badass skate video. And they go, who the hell are you? And I sold that skate video and I made $40,000 when I was 16 years old. Stand up. I want you to. Yes! Woo! Now this is not my exercise. I borrowed it from many people who borrowed it from many people. So some of you may have done this already because I know that you participate in a lot of things like this, but play along either way. You everyone do me a favor and raise your right hand as high as you can. Okay? Now stay there for a second and look around and see everybody else's hands. Now, I know that you can actually go about 3 to 5 inches higher than you are right now, but wait, before you do it, keep your hand where you are. I know that you can do that. So you can do that. Go ahead, raise your hand higher. Every single person's hand in this audience went higher. You can put your hands down. Everyone. Why? Because I gave you permission to do so. You already could. So out of that experience, when I was just a teenager, this was the new perspective that I got. Stop waiting for permission. We're taught as kids, we're taught in school to like, okay, ask your teacher, ask your parents, raise your hand. Can I go to the bathroom? And if you get permission, you're allowed. And if you don't, okay, I won't. And so we're conditioned as people to wait for permission. You don't need permission. Oh, you can. You just need to call a phone number and say, hey, I got this for you. You're going to buy it. And they will, maybe. Stop waiting for permission. It's the number one thing holding all of us back. All of us. Myself, still to this day, I remind myself, and I'm so lucky to be able to be on stage like this in front of people like you, to share this because it gives me a reminder every time I tell it of, you know what? There's stuff right now in my life I'm waiting for somebody to give me permission for it. I don't need permission. I'm the boss. Yeah! And you're the boss. Yeah! It's not a title, it's a mindset. Yeah! How many of you heard some version of, wait until you're ready? Yeah, right? Wait until you're ready. You have to do things in a certain order before you can then go do the thing you wanted to do. So I was talking about obviously producing an escape video and being, just this brash kid and making it happen. But my family was a very blue-collar family. There's not one entrepreneur in my family. There's not one business owner. Every person, extended family included, blue-collar workers. And great people, and they all mean well, and they're hard workers. I learned a lot from that, but my father, that was my dad back in the day, and me as a kid picking pumpkins. My dad was in the Air Force. My mom was a teacher. By the way, thanks anybody who has served or has somebody that you know served. I really appreciate that. It's important. Thank you. And so, as I'm going through this journey, even though obviously 16 years old, I'm like, F all you, I'm going to do it anyway, I was still told by my family, by teachers, by guidance counselors, by extended family, by friends even, of like, all right, well, you got lucky on that one thing. The escape video, cool. That's like, you can't make a career out of that. You still need to go and like, get a college degree and go and work for somebody, an intern somewhere and work like maybe 10 or 15 years from now when you have a big enough body of work, you can like go and make videos of something. Really, I was told various versions of that. Like, wait, like, sure, you can do that and maybe that's this cool thing you do on the weekend, but that's not like, you can't do that now. You have to go through this order of operations. And so my dad, he was, this was in my senior year of high school, he was retiring from the military. He was a lieutenant colonel in the Air Force. He had worked 30 years and was extremely dedicated to his country. However, he had these incredible dreams, like really big, impactful things to not just what he wanted, but he wanted to build a science center. He wanted to teach kids. He wanted to travel. He wanted to teach aerospace to kids young so that they could have, in poor areas and communities where they could have an opportunity to learn some of these really great things. That was his real dream. And so he was waiting until he was going to retire in order to be able to start this next chapter of his life and do the things that really were his passion. And again, he loved serving his country, but this bigger thing that was really in his heart, that's what he wanted to do. And so I remember this so clearly. So it's the week before, or it's the week of his retirement. And so there are people he'd known for 30 years that hadn't seen him since the early days. And my parents, they didn't have a lot of money, but they scrapped as much as they could together. And we were putting on a retirement party for him that Friday. And so it's the weekend before, so everybody's prepping in order to get ready for this little retirement party. And a lot of people, because he was pretty well respected, a lot of people were flying in for this party. And most of them hadn't seen him in 10 plus years. He was excited, my mom was excited, everybody was super excited. And it's Sunday night, which is the night before his last day of work. So it's Monday morning, or Monday is his last day. And obviously, it's just to like shake the hand, sign the last piece of paperwork, thank you everybody speech, and then we'll see you on Friday, and then I'm going to go and onto these next things in my life. And so he sent out this really wonderful email to everyone Sunday night, thanking them, for all of the great times. And he said, hey, I'm moving on to this next chapter in my life. He died of a heart attack that night. He didn't make it into his last day of work. And so he was waiting 30 years to build this dream, and he never got to experience it. That Friday, it wasn't his retirement party, it was his funeral. And hundreds of people that were there to see him, to congratulate him, buried him. And so while it's very tough, I learned such a big lesson from it. I think we all can, because I think even today, I recognize it. I'm still waiting until I get to some certain point to do what I want to do, even if it's small. And the biggest perspective that we can all take is you're not guaranteed tomorrow. That might sound tough, but it's true. We're all blessed, lucky, whatever you want to call it, to be here today, that we woke up this morning. And while it's harsh to think about, and I do remind myself this often too, because it's so important to remember, we're not guaranteed tomorrow. We're lucky when we wake up tomorrow. And so what are we waiting for? That thing that you're saying, well, once I get to this level of money, once I have the house, once, my marriage gets better, once I meet this person, once I get this sale, once whatever, then I'll do. What if that doesn't happen? What if you don't get the opportunity? How many of you heard you don't know enough? You don't know enough. You're not educated enough. You don't know any entrepreneurs. You're not good at sales. You haven't taken a course. You haven't, whatever. You don't know enough. I heard that so many times. And after my dad died, and obviously everyone had kind of convinced me that I needed to do this whole college thing and work in a certain order, though it was against, in my heart of hearts, what I believed I needed to do. I did go, but I was a year and a half in, and I remember so distinctly. It was my first, I had kind of accelerated the first piece, and I was there for, I completed, it was an art, I went to art school, man. I didn't go to business school, I went to art school. In Florida near a beach. Like just, when they're like, you gotta go to college, like just to give you perspective, I'm like, fine, I'll go to college, but like, let's be real. And don't get me wrong, I worked hard, but just not in the stuff that like was on the agendas. Associate's degree, and then I was moving on to the next part of however they did it, and I was working on my bachelor's degree, so I was going to be there for another 2 years. And so a year and a half in, and it's my first day in like the third class, and this one professor, teacher, whatever the hell they were, I don't know, maybe they had a degree, it's art school. And they probably found him on the street. And you paint stuff, right? Like you can teach this class. No, but anyway, in all seriousness, I remember very specifically, he's like, okay, hey, who has had some experience like in the film and production world? And a handful of us raised our hands. And I'm not downplaying anyone else's, what they accomplished at that point, but most of the accomplishments are, oh yeah, I'm a production assistant on this, I shot some weddings. And then I raised my hand and I'm like, well, I produced 5 skate videos, I sold the first one $40,000 in X, Y, Z. I shoot B-roll camera for these 3 documentaries on the History Channel, and on and on and on. And the guy looks me dead in the eye and he just goes, why the hell are you here? I don't even know this gentleman's name, and I'm hoping one day my story gets out and this person's like, I remember that guy, because I really would like to know who it was, because I was only there for 10 minutes, and he said that to me, and it clicked, and it was the best gift anyone could have ever given to me. I said, I don't know, that's a great question. I picked up all my shit, I went down, and I quit. And so he was the first person that said, you do know enough, go do it, right? Without saying it. So I quit college, and I get back to what I was already doing. I started a production company, and so I did that for a few years. I moved back out of Florida, back to New York, where the real business was. This was my college roommate for a year and a half, who I would convince to leave with me as well. And I started a production company. He does really well now. He doesn't work very well. He does really well, so it was a good move for him too. But so we started producing like local TV commercials and getting all these little clients and stuff like that. And I was like, this is awesome. Like, I get it. I already know this. I get the game totally. This is fantastic. I moved the company into Manhattan. I get my first office space. I get a beautiful apartment in the Upper East Side. I'm killing it. I'm like, this is freaking easy. F all you people that say you can't you got to go to college. You got to do these things for 30 freaking years before you can start making videos. And I'm like, I just quit college and I'm already doing it. Until reality punched me in the throat. Man, it's so different making escape videos and local commercials with very little overhead than it is to have an office and payroll and a nice, beautiful apartment in the Upper East Side. That is a different game. That is a different level. And while it happened over a period of time, it felt like this. It still feels like this to me today when I think about it, that I woke up one morning, can't make payroll, $250,000 in debt. There's an eviction notice on my door because I'm 2 months behind on personal rent. I got punched in the throat by reality, and I said, holy shit, what did I do? And so at that point, I've got negative everything, negative bank accounts, negative credit cards, every freaking phone call with somebody wanting money, because I owed everybody money. And so it's just like mailbox full, I'm not answering that. The mail comes in, I don't need to open that, as like stuff coming out of it. I'm like, I don't want any of that. There's nothing good in that mailbox. Nothing good in there. And so I'm like, what the hell do I do though? Because I know I can't make next month's rent in New York City. Like, while they give you the eviction notice, like I can't really do anything until you get 3 months behind. I did the Google search. You gotta know this stuff if you're gonna be in that position. And so I said, wow, I don't think I'm in a position of where I'm gonna be able to pay rent next month, and I can't get evicted, because for me at that point in time, honestly, my biggest fear is I'm gonna prove everyone right. And in my heart of hearts, that means I'm wrong, and that hurt. And so I didn't tell anybody. Nobody knew this. My mom didn't even know that this happened to me. This is 13 years ago, by the way. My mom did not know this happened to me until 2.5 years ago when I put it out on YouTube. She's like, oh my God. She's a teacher in a small town. She's like, you're $250,000 in debt. Like, you couldn't even fathom it. And I'm like, yeah, it was 13 years ago. She had no idea. And so I kept this all to myself, but I had to figure out, like, how am I going to pay rent? What am I going to do? And so I put it out on a Craigslist, rent out the apartment. And I found this guy who, came in. He's this a dude from France who just moved there. He's going to be the head pastry chef at the Waldorf Astoria. So money's not an issue. He's never there. He's like, yeah, this is great. He's like, it seems like a pretty good deal though. What's the catch? And I said, oh, there's just one catch. There's going to be some dude sleeping on the couch. Is that cool? He's like, yeah, whatever. That was me. I was the dude sleeping on the couch. I rented out my whole apartment. He basically was paying for all the rent. I'm renting out my whole apartment. I'm sleeping on the couch. I don't have anywhere to even put my stuff. Luckily, he's a chef, and chefs don't cook when they get home, so I'm not even kidding you. I had stored all my crap in the kitchen cabinets. I had nowhere else to store my stuff. I didn't have a bedroom. I didn't have a closet because it was all his. And I was on that couch felt forever, but it was 6 months. And don't get me wrong, I was still working hard. I'm working 16, 18-hour days, but I'm not making any ground. I'm not making any headway. I'm just making enough to pay the basic bills to keep going and just survive. But that $250,000 is just stacking up and sitting there. I'm not making a dent in it. I'm not getting any closer to where I want to be, and I'm depressed out of my mind. I would just go in, I would do my thing, head down, I'd come home, be late at night, and I remember 6 months into sleeping on this couch. I come home, I worked an 18-hour day, it was a really tough day. I walk in, it's 11 p.m., and this dude is sitting on the couch watching this documentary. He's like, this is the most amazing documentary. You got to watch it with me. He's a half hour into a 3-hour fucking documentary that I had no interest in. What am I going to say to him, though? It's basically his apartment. He's like letting me bum on his couch, my couch. He's basically letting me bum on my couch. That was fucking depressing, though. It really was. Because I'm like, I don't even live my own life. Like, I am so stuck on this couch. I can't get anywhere. What am I going to do? And so the next morning, I'm like, I got to change, man. That was like so rock bottom for me, because what I realized was if I don't change, I'm guaranteed to fail. Guaranteed. It's only a matter of time before that all caught up. Only a matter of time, and it probably wasn't going to be that long of a time until it caught up. It's like, does anybody play poker here? Yeah. Okay. For anybody that doesn't, the simplest piece of this, and the only reason I'm explaining this is, when you play poker, so there's 8 people playing, there's a big blind and a small blind, meaning you don't have to play any hand. You don't have to bet anything. You can just sit there, get cards, and fold. It doesn't cost you any money, except twice in a round. They take a little bit of money that you gotta, so you're sitting at the table, the big blind and the small blind. So you gotta pay a little bit of a little tax for sitting at the table, but only when it goes fully around everybody, right? Here's the thing. Most people try to avoid taking risk because we're afraid that if we take risks, I might fail. But guess what? Just like in poker, you can sit there and never play a hand and you're guaranteed to lose all of your money. Yes. By not taking a risk, you're guaranteed to fail. Yes. And so for me at that moment, I realized that, and I'm backed up against the ropes. I'm like, well, I don't really have much to lose, because if I don't change, I'm guaranteed to fail. I'm sitting here, and the little money is whittling away, and I'm not making any moves. And so I said, I have to take a big risk. And for me at that time, I started reading some books, and I'm trying to figure something out, and it was really my first foray into self-development. I was reading a book, and I don't remember what it was, but it said, hey, who are the top 5 people way out of your network that if you met or got in in a room with, they would change your life? And for me at that time, the number 1 on the list was Tony Robbins. And it just so happens, as life is, that next day I see an ad. Tony's coming to New York next week. Jersey, really, for anybody in New York. And I'm like, man, I can't have just written this down and then he happens to be here in a week. That would really go against me saying I'm going to make a change. And so I realized, man, I have to find a way to do this, but I literally have no money. And then my roommate happens to pay me in cash for the next month a little bit early. And it was just a little bit more than what it would cost to go see Tony. And for me at that time, I'm $250,000 in the hole. I got nothing. I literally have the amount that I have to go and now put in someone else's bank account to cut a check, because I put it in mine. It's just coming out of the negative. Or check cash in place or some shit. Because of course he paid me cash. But I'm 2 months behind, right? He doesn't know that. Like every week I come and he's like super late, so I peel off the little notices on the door. He had no idea. And so I'm like, well, I've got 2 weeks to pay this rent. I'm not going to make it if I take this money and go here. But I realized if I just play the same game, it's going to happen anyway. So I took it all, and I went to Tony. I went to UPW. And regardless whether it was Tony or an event like this or anywhere else, here was the biggest fundamental change for me. I'm on that couch for 6 months, and I believe I have no one to talk to, nobody to look up to, no good advice, nowhere to go. It is all downhill. I am totally screwed, and I don't even believe in myself. And then I walk into a room, and it felt just like this, and that's why I got a little emotional before. And that was the first time in a long time I was in a room with a group of people that believed what I believed, that knew that there was a next level, that knew that they had more in them, that they knew that if they stayed positive and focused and figured out what's the strategy they need to accomplish and get around other like-minded people, they could get wherever they wanted to go. And that changed my perspective entirely. I went from living on a couch, being $250,000 in the hole, totally depressed, to 12 months later doing over $1 million plus in sales. It changed everything for me. And what's really interesting, and I swear I told Jesse this last night, I said I redid this deck because I wanted to make sure I really made this as powerful for you guys. And I happened to, this is no joke, I happened to last night find that little notebook when I found it. And I found the one page of notes where I actually put down what I did after leaving that event, because I tell this story sometimes, everybody's like, that's awesome, but what did you do? I'm gonna move through this kind of quick because I wanna make sure Please do, go ahead. Go ahead. This is what I did. I walked, what it was an exercise to make you realize two things. One, how introverted you were being, and number two, how unconfident I was. And so what I did is I walked outside, and the whole exercise is stare people in the eyes until they look away. And when you're conscious of that and you try to do it, you'll realize, oh my God, I'm looking away from everybody. Why? There's no reason. None. And then you're like, okay, hour or two into this. Now, I'm living in Manhattan, so there's tons of people. I could try this on every minute. And then all of a sudden, I went from realizing I'm looking away to all of a sudden they're looking away. And I'm like, oh, hell yeah. I'm literally walking down the street and I'm like, I won, I beat you. And they're like, what the fuck? And luckily, I'm in New York City, so like nothing's really that weird. Nobody really, they're like, whatever. But that sounds so silly and so small, but my God, it changed my perspective because all of a sudden I'm having even just stupid little wins and I'm having fun and I'm building confidence and it's creating contrast for me. And it was amazing. It changed so many things for me. And then there was this one time I'm walking down and there's this really big dude and I stare at him and he doesn't break the stare and he doesn't break the stare and he doesn't break the stare and he goes, what? And I was like, dude, I'm really sorry, man. I read a book. I gotta go. That was the only weird one, so I'm gonna move fast through these other ones. So the other was propose a solution. What do you want to do? Have an answer. So when somebody asks you, what do you want? Have an answer. What do you want? Have an answer. And propose a solution to yourself, not to them. What's my solution to get what I want? Because oftentimes when somebody asks me that, I realize, what do you want? I'm like, I don't know. How can you get it if you don't know what it is? I skipped a number, but that's fine. So it would have been number 3, said get phone numbers. And literally it was like, it wasn't like for dating, it wasn't necessarily for business, so just get phone numbers. It didn't matter. Like go up and say, hey, what's your phone number? It's weird at first, but then once you start to do it, it makes everything else easier, just like a stare. So then on the right side, now number 3 again, say no. Because we often say yes to so much shit, there's no space for any of the stuff that's actually gonna get us where we wanna go. Start saying no. Call a superstar mentor, a CEO was for me, right? Like, who do I need to know? Who can I call? Didn't mean I were gonna say yes, didn't mean I was gonna get in touch with them. But I called people till I did. And then I said, hey, can I get coffee with you? Can I pick your brain? So I started to get around. I changed my circle like that. And then number 6, whatever, it's really funny because I read this. I wrote this 13 years ago, by the way. I literally found this book last night. I'm like, this is so funny. Lay down in a public place. And I'm like, did I do that? And I'm like, I did at Grand Central because, again, it was just weird. I don't really know how much value I got out of it, but once you're like, fuck it. I can lay down in New York City. I can stare you in the face. And so the new perspective I want to give you is you are enough right now. You don't have to do it in some specific order. You don't have to wait till you have that money or that connection or that contact or that phone number. You don't have to wait. You're enough right now. Just that's okay. You're enough. You are enough. Those are amazing. How many of you heard, whether you've said this or someone else has said it about somebody else, oh, well, they're just lucky. Yeah, all of us, right? They're just lucky. And there's the reason I wanted to take you through some of my journey. And again, this isn't to brag. I'm going to show you a couple of little quick things, because if you look at somebody in their current state, when they're some levels above where you want to be, either as a whole or certain areas of their life, and you think, well, they're just lucky. Do you know what it does for you?
Gives you an out. Gives you an excuse.
Yeah, exactly. It gives you an excuse to not do it. It's just an excuse. It's just an excuse for you, or it's just an excuse for somebody else to say it. And so I'll just show you a couple quick things. And so now fast forward 13 years after living on a couch, $250,000 in the hole, literally like no connections, nobody, no money, no access. This is just a quick little video that just a little highlight of some of the content and things that we've done. If it plays, I don't know. Here we go. I don't know if they have audio or not. Sure. Come on, one more time while we get the audio figured out. Let's go, yeah! Prove it! Woo! Thank you. Woo! Thank you. Oh, you guys want it? Let's do it one more time. Whoa, prove it. Love it. So great. So now I'm lucky enough to spend time with amazing people, amazing humans like Jesse Lee, Helicopter. Speak in front of you guys. This is just a quick little thing, our series of Growing Bold, like obviously we've had tons of people. It's been featured in basically everywhere. We've had 18 million views of 4 hours of video, 100,000 plus comments and direct messages, new business in the multiple seven figures, just from sharing our story through social media, telling it, doing this kind of stuff. And now, obviously, like that might feel, again, oh, well, a lot of people look at this, and I get people that send me messages all the time, oh, well, you're lucky because you know Grant Cardone, blah, blah. I didn't. This is all manufactured. This is created. There is no difference between you and I, except I took a lot of action to get here. That's it. And to put that into perspective, what that would cost from a traditional media perspective, because obviously we're marketing, so this is a really cool statistic that we have, is it's the equivalent of 480 30-second TV commercials in prime time, like the best, most expensive TV media, like the Super Bowl, which would cost you $250 million to get that much exposure. Over the course of 2 years, including staff, advertising, costs everything less than $500,000. Now, obviously, somebody like, well, I don't have $500,000. I'm not doing this to say that's what you have to do. What I'm saying is that it's all relative. Like, you have the opportunity, whether it's $4, 4,000, or $500,000, whatever, you have the opportunity to get hundreds times more exposure, more sales, more connections, and you can get connected to whoever you want. You just have to make sure that you actually go after it. And so, what's most important, the lesson from this is strategy is bigger than the plan, is bigger than the tactic. And oftentimes, whether I'm talking to entrepreneurs, folks like you, business owners, Fortune 500 companies, everyone's looking for the tactic. Oh, is it Facebook Live or Instagram Live? The answer is yes. Probably not radio or carrier pigeons, guys. But everyone starts there. What's the tactic? What's the strategy? What am I trying to accomplish? Who do I need to talk to and why? And what's my value? And how am I going to either entertain, educate, sell? What am I going to give to them? And then what's my plan to execute it? And then what are the tactics? The tactics are the last 20%, but we oftentimes treat it like it's the whole package. So, do you want to right now, in the time we have remaining, do you want to build a quick roadmap for your own personal strategy? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. We're going to do that and write down these questions as well, because I also understand that sometimes, and I've been there, When we're in a room like this and we're trying to act quick and answer some of these questions, it doesn't quite come to you right away. So write down the questions. It might come to you later. It might come to you tomorrow. But make sure that at some point, whether it's right now while we go through it or it's tomorrow morning, answer all of this because it will change your life and it will change your business. But don't wait. If you're doing it past tomorrow morning, you're way too long. So the first question I want to ask all of you is, what is your number one goal for the next 12 months? Number one. And the reason that I say number one is because we often have 75 different things that we're trying to accomplish. We're like, well, here's my laundry list of stuff. Guys, those are the tactics. What's the one goal? What's the number one goal that if you accomplished it 12 months from now, you would be like, hell yes, I did it. It changed my business and it changed my life. Does anyone want to share what that number one goal is? Go ahead.
I want to quit my day job and make this.
Hell yeah. She wants to quit her day job and do this full time. Anybody else want to share? Yes, go ahead.
Be able to buy a house.
She wants to buy a house. Amazing. Yes.
Have a bigger impact on people.
She wants to make a bigger impact on people. I would just give this to you. That's amazing. Specifically how?
Learn to be a better leader, be coachable.
But do what? What's the finish line look like? So if I didn't know you and I peeked in 12 months from now, I could say yes or no, she did it.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. And this is why I already said it, that it might not come out clearly right now. But I'm just going to give you this little thought process because it's so helpful because I struggle with it sometimes as well, is when you say, what's the goal? It needs to be clear. It needs to be measurable by someone else who doesn't know what you're doing. Then you've got a clear target. That's a game changer. Anyone else want to share one or two more? Go ahead.
Be debt free.
Debt free. By the way, if I can come out of it, you can get out of it no matter where you are. Absolutely. One more, yeah.
Find the same thing, but cut up all the credit cards.
No credit cards. Out of debt. Amazing, amazing. Now, here's the next question I need you to answer. To whatever your number one goal is, what would it look like if you achieve this? And I mean, think about it. Paint the picture. Am I on my knees going, I did it, this is freaking amazing? Am I standing on stage? Am I telling somebody else, did it change my life, someone else's life? Do I have more money in the bank? What does it look like and what does it feel like if you achieve this goal? Anybody want to share? Go ahead.
It means you don't have to dodge the phone calls in the mail anymore.
I know exactly how that feels. Absolutely. Yes.
It means that I don't have to worry about asking my sister to help cover my mom's bills.
Self-reliance. It's amazing. It's powerful. Go ahead.
Proving everybody wrong.
Proving everybody wrong. More importantly, proving yourself right. Go ahead.
It means I don't have to say no to my children anymore when they want to go to
She said for anyone who couldn't hear it, not having to say no to her children anymore. And I have a 4-month-old daughter, so it really hits home because I'm just experiencing all of that myself. Did you have one?
I was going to say the same thing. We're married, so.
Same thing. Amazing.
Give our children the life they deserve.
One. Oh, great. Give me two more.
Getting to undo the mindset I have taught my children.
Ooh. Wow. That's amazing.
When I quit rank 7 crochet,
When? Love
it means that I will be driving a Mercedes RV with my 2 amazing dogs, my amazing partner, traveling this country, and not worrying about my mortgage, my bills, my credit
Yes.
card.
Yes. Give her a hand. Give everyone a hand for working through this. That's amazing. Oftentimes we think about the goals and not the goal. And then oftentimes we don't think about what it's going to really feel like. So we don't attach that outcome to the excitement and to the journey. Now, the next question is, what impact would it have if you did not reach that goal? Same idea. How would it feel? What would happen? What would hurt? Who would you hurt? How would you feel? Where would you be? Would you be on the couch? Would you be depressed? What is it? And think about it. And I know this sounds very negative, but I'll tell you the reason for doing this. What impact would it have if you did not? And I don't mean like you missed it by a little bit. You didn't do it. You missed it entirely. It didn't happen at all, whether on your own behalf or just because circumstances. Does anyone want to share what that would be? Right here.
I would feel that I failed myself and my family.
Go ahead.
I would feel that I failed myself and my family.
It's a tough one. I felt that as well. Over here. Let's wait for the mic. We have a mic now. It's great. Over here.
I would feel stagnant.
Stuck?
Stuck.
Yeah, that's how I felt. Yeah, stagnant,
Doing
stuck.
the same thing over and over again.
Sure.
Definition of insanity.
Yeah. It's true. There's two more back there, and then let's get one or two up here.
I would feel like I let my family down. I feel like as a role model, I wanted to show my kids, they know I'm here, they know the sacrifices I've made to be here. I want to show them that it can work, and that I am a success and I'm not average.
Yeah, one more back there. There was one more somewhere.
Guilt. I would feel guilty.
Yes. Let's get one more. Who wants to share?
Letting my babies down.
Oof. Yeah. Now, the reason I had you do both of those questions of what would it look like when you achieve it and what would it look like when you don't, there's two reasons for that. Number one, when you understand what it's going to look like, what it's going to feel like, the impact that you're going to have, those days where you don't want to get out of bed, the day that you don't want to make that call, you're going to go, if I don't make that call, I'm not going to get that. I'm not going to feel that. I'm not going to have that impact, so you do it. At the same time, if I don't make that call, if I don't get up, if I don't take that meeting, if I don't do what I'm supposed to do, I'm going to end back out on that couch, depressed, in debt, and disappoint everyone and prove them right. And I remind myself of that every time it gets tough, because one of those things is pulling me towards where I want to go and the other is pushing me away, and that is so strong. To get clear on that, we're taught as well to avoid the pain. Don't think about the worst case scenario. Think about the worst case scenario and think about the best case scenario, and then go do the stuff that will avoid the worst case scenario and get you to the best case. So my next question is this: what would you do differently today? You already hit that goal. You killed it. You're on your knees, you're on stage, you're like, hell yeah, I did it. I'm out of debt. I changed my kids' lives. I'm at that level, right? I made the money I want to make. I did it. What would you do differently today if you already achieved this? Let's say you accomplished that goal. What would you be doing differently? What would be different for you? Anybody want to share?
If I achieved this goal, I wouldn't be sitting in this place where I could gain all this information and be distracted by emails from the job I hate. And I'm afraid that I'm going to let somebody down there when what I'm really doing is letting myself down.
Who else?
I'll do one more. Actually, we're going to do something different. Can you tell us your name, please?
Go ahead.
Alicia from Denver. Today, if I had achieved this, I would have a home for the 10 kids that I have living in my house. They would each have their own bedroom. And the children who were kicked out of their home would know that they had a future!
Yes, thank you for sharing that. A few more. What are you doing differently? What's the action that you're doing now? Or how are you behaving differently if you already achieved your goal?
Hi, I'm Amy from Illinois.
Hi.
The difference if I was doing what I should be doing already is that I would be up there instead of up here.
Let me ask you a question so we can clarify, because I like to dig below the surface. What would be the behaviors, not just that you achieved it and they let you up on stage, what would you be doing differently then that would then allow you to be on stage? What action?
I'm showing up because I'm not doing it right now. I'm not doing that for my team, and I'm not doing it for me. So I'm going to be showing up.
Thank you. Let's do two more. I don't know where the mic is.
Hi, I'm Sarah from BC, Canada. Thanks, guys. So your question, I just went blank.
That's okay. What would you, if you already achieved your goal, what behavior and actions would be different for you then?
So currently, I have like mental health shit and mental health, but you know, I get really good. I get really consistent. I'm waking up early before my kids so they can't destroy my day with screaming at me. And you know, I get really good and consistent about self-care. When I am super freaking successful, I'm gonna have like amazing, miracle, magical fucking moments every morning. Yes! I'm gonna shake my ass every day because it makes me feel good. I'm not gonna listen to the naysayers in my life, and I might actually just ditch out on some toxic people in my life.
One more. One up here.
Hi, how you guys doing? My name is Leon from Miami.
Hi,
Thank you. This is my wife, Lucy. First of all, I just want to say I'm a big fan. And for those of you who do not believe in all the attraction, 2 weeks ago I was watching this man with my leg, and I was in my car and I was struggling, and I was actually, and I'll share it very quick if you don't mind, just 1 minute. I've been wanting to say this since yesterday. The last 24 hours, my wife and I had to face the fact of our son suffers from leukemia. He's been in the hospital for 3 days with his counts low. My car, which I got a month ago, I just got a call from the dealership 24 hours ago saying, hey, you gotta drive back down to Miami from Orlando, return the car, and I'm there thinking, how the heck am I gonna get to Nashville with my wife's car, which is not gonna make it out there. My promoter, where you at, man? I got over there. I gotta say, guys, great. The next upcoming country, guys. What I want you all to take from this is, don't think you're better than everybody. Listen to your leaders, follow them, because that man, I'm the reason why my wife and I are here today. Because that man kind of tested me when I said, I'm going to give you the money with my income tax, but I opened my business. I got promoted within our first month, thanks to you, man. For those of you who don't think that you're worth it, that lady earlier in the morning, you're beautiful, girl. You say you're not perfect, you're perfect. And when it doesn't mean you're perfect, then you gotta do it in this room because what's happening around for you. So, with that said, if I was already achieved, then what I would have to do every single day is make sure that I did whatever it took to get there. Because if you do not get up and put the work, if you do not get up and put that shirt that says I achieved it, then it's gonna go right back into that closet and you're never gonna wear it again. So make sure. Actions speak louder than words. And your action speaks so loud that you shook your city.
Oh, brother. That is so touching. And I'm so sorry to hear about your son, and thank you for sharing that, man. And thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. Wow. Man, every time I feel like I've got a tough day, dude, I remind myself there's always somebody else who's got tougher. Thank you for sharing that. It's unbelievable, man. That touched me. So, here's my question for you. Whatever you wrote down of how you'd be behaving, the things you would be doing or not be doing when you've already achieved it, why the hell aren't you doing that now? We too often connect the outcome or the achievement or success to then allowing ourselves to behave like we think we should when we achieved it, but guess what? The people that achieve that, they behave that way, so they do achieve it. And when you get clear, that's why this question is so powerful, because when you get clear on what you would be doing differently, that's the thing you need to do right now. That will take you to your number one goal. Now, what do you need to stop doing? Because I can say that, and everyone's like, that's awesome, but I don't have the time, I don't have the resources, I don't have the money. Great. You know how we do that? We stop doing something else so there's space to do the thing that we are waiting to do 12 months from now. So what do you need to stop doing? What do you need to give up? What do you need to push out of your life to open up space? Let's hear from 2 or 3 people. I don't know where the mic is. That's right. I'll do one right now. Go ahead.
Stop making Who are you? I'm Danielle. I'm from Baltimore.
Hi, Danielle.
Stop making excuses. There's always an excuse. I work full time, or my son, my husband. I need to stop making excuses.
Stop it. Are you going to give that up?
Yes.
Commit to it.
I'm committing to it.
Awesome. Let's do 2 more. There's one right there.
I've got to stop doubting myself.
Mm.
From Richmond, Virginia. I've got to stop doubting myself and stop being afraid.
Sarah, you're enough right now. Take one more.
So, my biggest fear is, what if I lose it again? Like, what if I get to where my goal was, and I lose it all again?
It's a realistic fear, and I would love to say, hey, that won't happen, but it can, right? Here's the thing I'll give you for that. I've spent so much time with amazing people, successful people, driven people, people that came from super humble beginnings, my own story. I don't know anyone who's started with nothing or started something on their own that didn't have this experience multiple times. It's not about avoiding that failure. It's about the resilience to keep going. I will tell you that the people that are most successful, and if you want to categorize that as money or family or fame, whatever that is to you, because it's different for everyone, whatever that categorization of success, really real success is for you, guess what? I guarantee you, they're no smarter. They don't know that much more than you. Maybe the couple little things because they're experts at it now. But the gap, we often look and say, wow, that's a huge gap. I'm never going to get there. They're just like you and I. We're all very much the same. We think we're so different. We're not. We're very, very, very similar. The difference between the people that ultimately hit their goals and reach true success, that we're like, wow, that's unbelievable, it's not that they didn't fail. It's that they failed and failed and failed, and they had the resilience to not care and kept going and kept going and kept going. And most people, after the first failure, stop. Some people keep going and they make to the second failure and they stop. A very small percentage make to the third time. A very, very, very fraction of a percent will go until. There is no 2 times, 5 times, 50 times, it's until. And I'm sure you all know this story, but Colonel Sanders didn't start Kentucky Fried Chicken until he was retired in his 60s, I believe. And he got almost 1,000 no's. No one wanted his chicken recipe. How many of you would have gone door to door or phone calls and got 20 no's and said, forget it? How many of you would have gone to 100 no's and said, forget it? 500 no's, I probably would have said, forget it. And I'm being honest. 1,000 no's? And you kept going because he believed in what he wanted to accomplish. And he just kept going until. That's it. So don't not make the decisions because you might fail, because you might. Make the decisions because you're going to get there. Maybe right away, maybe round 2, maybe round 10, but you will get there. And my last question is, what do you need to start doing right now? Now that you're going to stop doing that thing, you just opened up space, you opened up time, you opened up mental ability. What are you going to start doing right now? Give me 2. Who wants to share? Go ahead.
Hi, my name's Savannah.
Microphone.
And I find in this business it's almost my year anniversary.
Yes!
And my biggest problem and what's holding me back, and I know truly it's not the fact that I need to be doing more, I need to learn more, I need to believe in myself. Because I feel like there's so many of you that you do things over and over and over and over, and you're missing the one thing. And that's to truly believe in yourself and truly believe you can be on that stage and you can be who these people are. And I feel like I struggled so much with that in thinking they are special, they have something. But, going to these events over and over, they are just like us.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. One more.
I am Holly from New Jersey.
Hi,
I would start putting myself first. And not being on the back burner for my kids and my husband and all the things I volunteer with, because none of that is ever going to get any better until I take care of myself.
Before I wrap this up, because it's such an amazing point, because oftentimes we put everything and everyone else first, thinking that that's how we're going to help everyone. But think, how many of you flew here? Wow, a lot of you. When they, and we've probably all heard it a million times, when they say, okay, in the event of emergency, the oxygen mask will fall from the top of the thing, blah, blah, blah. Did they say, put it on the person next to you first?
No.
What do they say?
Start yourself.
Why?
Because you can't save them, you'll save yourself.
I can't save anybody else if I don't have any oxygen. You got to give yourself the oxygen first. Then you've got plenty to give. This is my last perspective from that exercise, is do what you do today, what you would do tomorrow. Because I guarantee that almost every one of you, when you wrote down, hey, what would I do differently? How would I behave differently when I hit my goal? None of it's like, not doable today. It's like I'd make those phone calls, I'd start training more, I'd show up, I'd be more consistent, I'd get up at this time, I'd do this, I'd get rid of that. I bet most of you, that's not contingent on actually reaching that goal. Guess what? Doing that today instead of after is what's going to make you hit the goal. Does that make sense? So to wrap this up, the think bold perspective, number one, stop waiting for permission. This is your permission. Being here is your permission. Everyone talking to you on the stage and in person and meeting and talking to each other is the permission to do whatever it is that's in the back of your head. You're like, I want to do that. I know I can do that. But either everyone told me no or no one's told me yes. Guess what? Yes! I'm giving you permission. Yes! Give yourself permission.
Yes!
Number two, you're not guaranteed tomorrow. This all ties together, right? Like, stop waiting because we're not guaranteed tomorrow. Realize that every day that we wake up, we're lucky. I'm here, I'm on stage, I gotta give it my all. I can't wait. Because what if I do? What impact would I leave in the world if I didn't get up and play full in? If I waited and I didn't get to build that thing and impact those lives and those people, myself and my family. And number three, you're enough right now. You are enough right now. Say it, I am enough right now. I am enough right now. Stand up. Come on. Whoa, prove it. Say, I am enough right now. Amazing. Last one, do today what you would do tomorrow. Stop waiting for permission because you're not guaranteed tomorrow. You're enough right now, so do it today instead of waiting. That's it. That's the secret to whatever the hell you want in life. That's it. That is thinking bold. Thank you all so much. Get out there and live your dreams.